Namu Amida Butsu. Hello. Thank you so much for dropping by this channel. Right from the start, I'm going to apologize. There's something with this camera that it tilts my head opposite. Like right now, I tilt my head to the left and it goes right. And anyway, so if you see me doing weird things with my head, that's what's going on. It's very strange. I'm going to do my best to roll with it. So welcome to this video. Thank you for your time, energy, and attention. I hope to give you something that's worthy of your time, energy, and attention. I got a beautiful comment I'd like to share, and it really speaks to my own experience. This person said, I'm so grateful that I never heard of Shinjin until the past 2 or 3 years. And by that time I finally heard about Shinjin, I finally felt, oh, that describes my situation. And now that I have that description, there's greater clarity and recognition. Not only that, the greater recognition leads to more gratitude, confidence, and fundamental security, dealing with the roller coasters of life. So for me, while it's helpful to have the description of Shinjin, I'm so glad I never had the spiritual interference of seeking Shinjin as a goal. For me, I learned and loved the stories associated with the deity. And by the way, this person is primarily a Hindu. They feel drawn to Amida Buddha and feel resonance with and can really relate to some of the teachings of Jodo Shinshu, but their primary orientation is Hindu. They've shared in past comments. So for me, I learned and loved the stories associated with the deity. Also, I love to gaze on associated pictures and hear stories about him. I would just mull over the philosophical, metaphysical implications of the deity. I just love the deity without concerns about issues like Shinjin or having the requisite faith or saying X number of mantras, etc. It was just strong affinity, just getting pulled to this deity and somehow increasingly appreciating the significance and qualities of the deity. I believe that attraction, admiration, fascination is the important factor. Thinking about the deity, who the deity is, rather than thinking about myself and my various states of mind. I mean, that's one of the wisest things I've ever heard about Jodo Shinshu, and it's coming from a Hindu. And so again, just to clarify for anyone who's new, I don't follow modern Orthodox Jodo Shinshu. I do take very seriously Shinrin's writings, and I'm studying them even more seriously than ever before. But so many things that this person said relate to my own challenges with the modern Jodo Shinshu community, and like doing Nimbutsu right, or doing the right kind of Nimbutsu, or not trying to do self power and doing other power Nimbutsu, but I don't want to try to do it. Do I have Shinjin? Is this going to lead to Shinjin? How can I build Shinjin? Oh, wait, I can't build Shinjin. That has to come from Amitabha, but what do I do? But, oh, I can't do anything. My experience of Jodo Shinshu, modern Jodo Shinshu, there's just a lot of confusion, and it kind of becomes a mind maze. It certainly did for me, and I've approached Jodo Shinshu on and off for something like 20 years now. And every time I would approach it, and by approach it, I mean associate with other practitioners, or it just got like real quick, it got me up into my head, and with no clear answers and no way out of my head, of like, just rely on Amida. But you can't rely on Amida. Amida's got to do that. And it's like, well, what do I do? Well, just listen deeply. But to what? Like it was just, and the things I would listen to would just increase my confusion. And Paul Roberts talks about this, is that many people would come to his Sangha. And by the way, I wish I had met him. I found his videos, I think maybe a year after he passed. I'm very sad I never got to meet him personally. I have deep respect for him. You can Google him. He's got his YouTube videos are still up, and they're very beautiful. Paul Roberts, Shin Buddhism. He said people would come to his Sangha just like, the Sangha that he formed, it was like a hospital, because people would just come in like they were drawn to Amida Buddha, and then they would go hang out with Jodo Shin. And I'm not saying all Jodo Shinsu people are bad. I'm just saying the scene is just the Jodo Shinsu, modern Jodo Shinsu scene, at least in America. I don't know what it's like in Japan. It's just full of confusion. And that would happen every time I would go to it. I would just get more confused. And I love that I love the thoughts of this person. First of all, this idea of attraction, admiration, affinity, fascination. Just feeling this draw, because it's so pure and it's so from the heart. And of course, Shin means truth or reality. Jin means many things, but it's this combination of mind, heart, spirit. One definition I saw was the deepest part of your being. And so, sadly, many people translate Shinjin as trusting mind, which I think is such a disservice. I would say it's more trusting being. When your being trusts in Amida Buddha, and it's not conceptual. And this person describes this feeling of just being drawn and thinking about the deity instead of thinking about themselves and feeling reverence. Like this person's describing, this is one of the best descriptions of Shinjin one of the best I've ever read, because this person talks about how Shinjin like helps them to have confidence in their life. And this person's talking experientially. And so often when you hear people talk about Shinjin, it's like these definitions, and Shinjin is believing when you die, you'll be reborn in the Pure Land. Well, that's maybe the mind component, but this person right here, and of course that's the Buddhist version, but this person's really talking about the heart of it and the soul of it, I would argue. We may have different words, soul or essence or because when you hear the more poetic descriptions of Shinjin, it's Amitabha Buddha has sent forth his call and continuously sends forth his call. And then something with us feels that and responds. Mm-hmm. That's one of the beautiful descriptions I've both heard and felt. And some of my beautiful moments on this path over the years, sometimes there's just such this feeling of like, oh my God, I feel so held by Amida Buddha. And it's so sweet. And yes, it gives me such confidence to face life. So I love, of course, for those who are Orthodox Buddhist or Orthodox Shin Buddhist, it might be challenging to hear a Hindu talk about their experience of something like Shinjin. And things can get really complicated really quick. But I don't know his exact words, but what Paul Roberts would say on this topic, and it really resonates with me, is Amitabha Buddha is reaching out to all beings, even beings through the venue of other religions. And of course, that's the message of the Lotus Sutra, is that the one eternal or primordial Buddha is reaching out to people in countless ways. And Shinrin was quite influenced by the Lotus Sutra and identified that. My understanding is he identified that eternal Buddha as Amitabha Buddha, reaching out to all beings. And, things can get real religious real quick of like, well, you've got to worship Amitabha Buddha in this form. And okay, that's certainly the modern Shin Buddhist perspective, but when I read something like this, it moves me deeply. And then to boot, so this person had this experience through Hindu Dharma, and yet look, he feels so drawn to Amitabha and just, really relates to so many aspects of Jodo Shinsu. So the mind can really get in the way of the beauty of of uh, of that call, of the call of the primordial eternal Buddha, which yes, I really relate and resonate to Amitabha. So, mm, but this feeling of attraction, and this person used such beautiful words: attraction, admiration, affinity, fascination, appreciation. So all sorts of people come by this channel: Orthodox Shin Buddhists, other schools of Pure Land Buddhists, Universalists, Hindus. Apparently, Hindus come by this channel, and that's very beautiful. So all of us are free to interpret this person's experience however we interpret it. But I don't want to interpret it. All I want to say is it's very beautiful, is that something larger than this person has grasped him and holds him and has drawn him, drawn them in, and it sounds like continues to draw them in. And although they were drawn through a particular deity, a particular Hindu deity, they also see and feel the beauty of Amitabha. And it's very easy to take a belief system and, interpret this person's experience or say, well, but that's not what I feel drawn to do in this moment. In this moment, something sacred has gone on with this person. And I respect that this person, while they practiced in one tradition, they can see and feel the beauty in another tradition. Thank you so much to this beautiful soul for your comment. It's not really a comment, it's a sharing. Thank you for this deep, deep sharing. And I just scrolled down to some other comments, and someone wrote, "Grace is grace. We are saved by grace, not by works." Martin Luther, he's a very significant Christian theologian. And the person continued, "Grace, Shinjin / other power." And then they contrasted that. So grace and Shinjin are other power, whereas works is self-power. And then they said gasho, which means bow. And they wrote something in Japanese, which I'm going to translate thanks to Google. I can read Japanese. They wrote Namo Amida. Namo. In Japanese, they wrote Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Sorry, Google wrote it incorrectly, but in Japanese. That's very beautiful. Really honored to have this channel, and I'm so honored that it touches some other people. Namo Amitabha.